that's how I was looking at it, as like who we could, who will it end up being shared with and get more eyes. So
Sure.
That's
How was it? It was good? It was good?
Yeah, it was about 15 minutes. Like I said, I don't want to take much of his time because I know
he's got to kick off next week or the week after, right? Max tops.
He did say, I don't even remember what he said.
Yeah. Oh,
but
Jesus.
yeah, it's within the next 2 weeks. It's definitely within the next 2 weeks. I just forget which day he said.
No doubt.
I asked him and then started looking like, where's the button? So yeah, I think it was maybe 15 minutes tops. I asked him about 4 questions and that was it.
Cool.
I figured he's got to move on. Got work to do. Jesus. So, all right, let me. I got the Jerry Jeudy quick. I just wanted to hit that Jonathan Taylor real quick, like maybe where you think he could go, and then Sam Darnold real quick.
Okay.
Being named QB2. Then we got NFC East and South.
Yep.
At that point, I'll leave a little space, like a marker for me to put in the interview. Yanks, Otani elbow.
Yanks will be quick.
Yeah, I think most of these, the Otani elbow thing, that's quick. I mean, we can do. We're not doctors. And then Scotty trivia, and then I have a little Terry Funk thing. I don't know if you know who that is.
I do.
Pro wrestling. Okay. And then if you want to, I'll just mention that the Tour Championship is on this weekend.
Yeah.
I know nobody's paying much attention.
By the way, fucking yeah, we'll go into it. I'll save it.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yep.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to Bump and Run. I'm Pete Colasano, joined, as always, by the man, Scott Bracey. What's going on, dude?
Peter, good afternoon. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. Your eyes are in good shape. You're able to see me? Not that it matters.
For now.
Not much to look at anyway, but as long as you can hear me, that's the most important thing.
This is true. Yes, sir. So far, so good.
Good. Big episode for us today. Later on, we'll add in our interview with Coach Dan Garrett, head football coach of Kean University, the Cougars. Oh my! I think it's probably the cat, but I think a lot of other people will be thinking otherwise. Anyway, we'll add that in later on for those of you listening on the podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a separate video with that interview.
Hey, that'd be a hell of a mascot, though, if it wasn't the cat.
Oh my God, wouldn't that be fun? Hey, what's that? There's like that minor league baseball team. They're like the Savannah Bananas or something like that.
Savannah Bananas.
Is that what they are? Yeah. It'd be kind of the same thing, right? Like with the Cougars and their mascots are like old hot chicks.
Hot 45-year-old women. Yeah.
It'd be a lot of fun. It would definitely attract some people in. We certainly have some breaking news. We're going to break down the NFC East and South. We're going to do both because I had a personal issue that needed to be attended to last week, so we weren't able to do the show. Fortunately, we got to mention the Yanks a little bit, some injuries in baseball, and then, of course, everyone's favorite, the one segment that everybody looks forward to every week is Scotty's Trivia. So let's get to it. We'll start off with the worst of news for you, although we'll see. We got word right before the podcast started, maybe an hour or so before. This is very new. Jerry Jeudy went down during practice. The good thing is, looks like a hamstring injury. The bad news is it was like he couldn't put any weight on his leg, so who knows how bad the hamstring is. But regardless, you'd rather hear that than some kind of like ACL tear. So for you, obviously as a Denver fan, but just even analyzing the Broncos now, you already have some injuries on the board. What does this mean moving forward for the Broncos and for Russell Wilson?
Well, I'm glad I started running a little bit this week, so they might give me a call. I think I'd give you 2 snaps at this point.
You're tall. You do get those 50-50 balls.
This is the third guy that's gone down before fucking September 1st. Third wide receiver that's gone down. It's not great, dude. I got to tell you the truth. Whatever you heard, whatever you were hoping for as a Bronco fan, myself included, looking forward to this year with Sean Payton and Russell Wilson. It's not great. Javonte Williams, the running back's coming off an injury. I like what they did on the line. I like what they did at backup running back. But now Cortland Sutton's by himself. That Marvin Mims pick is looking better and better, man. I'm telling you, I said it's crazy. I said it 2 weeks ago, and now he's the number 2, at least for a little while, because hammies and groins are funny, dude. You never know how
especially on those wide receivers, running backs.
So
if you're a offensive lineman, you got a little hammy pull, you can work through that. Even a quarterback can work through that. Some guys on defense can work. Those skill position, those speed guys, if that shit isn't 100%, you got to hold off. Like, it's just the way it is. You can't do it. And the worst part of it is, as for Russell Wilson trying to rehab his game with Sean Payton there. You've been working all camp and all off season with Judy, probably developing like a rapport and all that stuff, and now he's gone.
Yep.
And that's got to suck. Like, that's really the worst part of it.
As you guys know, I didn't have high expectations for this team anyway, but I like Judy. I like I like his talent. And listen, you don't count a team out in August anyway, but I just didn't look like the AFC and what the division was too, and what last year looked like.
Part of that skepticism, I guess we'll say for you, is because of the division. I mean, the division is a beast. Yeah. So, if they were in the, let's say, NFC West or something like that, you might have a much different opinion of the team, but it's such a difficult division that plays such a big part in it.
Yeah, it stinks. It stinks for the kid. Big year too. His 4th year of his contract. You know, he was probably going to get. I think they picked up his 5th year option anyway already. But I mean, still, it's just.
And we'll hold off and see how severe it is, how long he'll be out.
I don't like you said. I don't like the no pressure thing on it. That's not good.
When you can't even walk it off and you got to get carted off and it's a hamstring. It just you can't help but get bad thoughts.
And it's so funny, dude, because it's like preseason and exhibition football is so touchy because these guys need to get reps and need to get practicing and need to run and need to train. But at the same time, that's the other side of it. It stinks. It just there's no other word for it.
It is a catch-22 because if you don't get the work, then when the season starts, you're kind of in a vulnerable position because you're either not ready physically or you don't have the reps.
You don't have the rapport. Yeah.
So, but if you do, you run the risk of getting hurt.
Well, that's like you guys this week. I'll touch on it real quick. Jets and Giants preseason game this week. Everyone's going to play for both teams at least a series or two. And I think every year a major guy's gone down in that game for one team or the other. So it scares the shit out of you, dude.
Absolutely. There's already criticism from the media. Yeah, there's criticism from the media about Aaron Rodgers playing. And I'm sitting here like, dude, you got to get some game reps before
you have to.
Like some, right? I mean, you got to get him on the field with Garrett Wilson and all those guys.
Yeah, I know you got those game scrimmages the week leading up to it, but they're not the same. The coach is on the field and you're not getting touched.
You're right.
I think it's a little different, man. I really do.
It's different. I know it can get intense, and even reports were out that the Jets canceled the second day with Tampa because it started to get chippy, and they were like, "This is not worth it." Like,
did you watch Hard Knocks? I'm assuming no.
I didn't see it this week yet. Yeah, I didn't.
Okay, so they touch on it. It's bad.
It was getting really
every 4 minutes there's a fight. How can you get any work done?
So it's not worth it at that point. But which is interesting because you're there to get work in, and then we're getting chippy. I know who knows who's starting to chip, but anyway, it's an interesting story, and it definitely set you back. But we'll keep our fingers crossed that it's not too serious. Another interesting story, just weird to me, but it is the nature because if you remember a few weeks ago, there was complaints from running backs about the market for running backs. And here we are with Jonathan Taylor, who was basically more or less sitting out of camp. I'm not saying he wasn't injured, but was kind of also saying he was injured. Irsay comes out and says, "No way, we're not trading him, period, end of story." And then like 3 days later, hey, if you can find a trading partner, then we'll give you trade. I think that's a smokescreen to me.
Typical Irsay, though.
Yeah, I think it's a smokescreen because he's asking for so much. No one's giving that up. Like no one's giving up a first. I mean, this is a second or third round pick, and you're asking for a 1+. So I don't think it's going to happen. But if it could happen, where would be some landing spots for him?
Hold on.
Because don't forget, now you got to give up. This goes back to the Lamar Jackson thing, where nobody ended up making a real offer because it was like not only do you have to give up multiple picks, but then you got to pay top dollar for kind of an undervalued position. So this is the problem why trading this is unlikely. But where do you think he could go?
Well, 1 second, just real quick. I want to touch. I was driving today to the eye doctor, and I heard on the radio Schefter was on DP. And Marshall Faulk only got a second and a fifth round from the Colts to the Rams.
Holy shit.
So Taylor wants a first, or the Colts want a first, whatever.
Because it's bullshit. They're not actually dangling him out there. Yeah, they're not actually dangling. They're just making it look like that. Now, listen, maybe somebody comes around and blows him away. This is why I bring up, like, who might be interested. And the reality is Jonathan Taylor is in the prime of his career. He's an excellent runner, excellent receiver.
Yeah.
So you're getting both dimensions. He's a really great player. He's a top 5 back of the league for sure. So, I have a couple teams in mind. Where do you have in mind that could
I was driving yesterday in the car and I got an alert. Broncos were in the mix. Today's news probably could change that. And that also scares me. I don't know how good of a shape Javonte Williams looks like, or like you said, they got a really great feature back in his prime. But they don't have a lot of picks to begin with from trading for Russell Wilson and Sean Payton, so they're already low on the draft board. So I don't know if I like the move or I don't. If they were a little bit more of a better team, I think I would love it. But right now it's hard to tell. Listen. Eagles, I heard, were in the mix. Do the Eagles need this guy?
Yeah, I just don't see it.
They
just let go of Miles Sanders. Like I heard,
they got DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, I heard people saying Minnesota. I'm like, Minnesota doesn't want to pay a running back. They just let Dalvin Cook go. Like, why would they? I mean, granted, he's younger and all fresher legs and all that stuff, but they're not looking to do that. And
the two teams that make the most sense, we've been saying it for half the summer now, is the Dolphins and the Bills.
Right. So I definitely thought the Dolphins. You have Tua still on his rookie contract. They have some, maybe some cap space to work with. I thought about Baltimore. You might be able to swing something, and now you got just one more weapon for Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, that's good.
And then the other team,
that's pretty good.
Not a playoff team, but I think it would work in what they're trying to do there and building something there. Is the Chicago Bears. They have the cap space, they have the picks, and it'd be nice to give Justin Fields, if you believe in him, which you and I do not, but if you believe in him, give him another weapon, have that spectacular running back, top shelf running back.
Can you believe the hype on this guy this year,
bro? The people that are like MVP, possible MVP, I'm like, you realize he's on a 10-game losing streak,
I don't
right?
understand.
Can you let him? I actually feel bad for the kid.
Me too.
Like, can you let him? Can you let him play? Well, I say that because he's not doing this. If you watch his interviews, he's a pretty humble kid. This is all media driven and like social media driven. Like, he's on a 10-game losing streak. He has stunk. Like, he's like bad. Can't throw the ball. Amazing runner, incredible athlete, good kid. But what are we talking about? It's like, can you slow down? There's, we'll get into it again, but they're likely to be in last place again this year. So, MVP, Jesus Christ. But I just think it would be a nice, add one more dimension to that team to help that kid out.
If this team wasn't in their division, the Jaguars would be a great piece for him.
Oh, totally.
Because ETN could be that third down back, scat back, receiver out of the backfield, and Taylor could pound you on first and second down.
Yep.
Oh, God.
Or you could have them both on the field at the same time because they're both runners and receivers.
Correct.
So you could really get versatile with that kind of thing. So
guy just got hit in the head. That stings.
We'll see what happens with that. Last thing before we get to our divisional breakdowns, Sam Darnold. I'm fascinated by this just because of the whole triumvirate there of Purdy, Trey Lance, and Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold has taken the job as QB2, backup quarterback for San Francisco. My Lord, how I don't think you and I are surprised at this at all because neither one of us were big on Trey Lance at all coming out of college. But are you a little surprised that? I mean, he is their first round pick. They traded up. They traded a lot to move up, and they're still willing to go with Sam Darnold as their backup, which means they're probably going to try to move Trey Lance. They're probably going to try to ship him somewhere, which is amazing.
Good buddy of mine, Tommy Reynolds. He's a Niner fan. And I just sent him a funny thing on Twitter. And it's like a broken down old like stereo system. Broken, but could be fun to fix. And had Trey Lance underneath it, like as a caption. I'm not surprised because we didn't like him 3-4 years ago. But what the Niners did to get him,
that's the kicker.
Stings, dude. That's where it's like. And then you get Purdy out of the last pick of the draft. Darnold's been getting better and better since he left the Jets. It's
amazing when you put some decent talent around Sam Darnold. He looks good. The funny thing is he looks the best in camp so far for the Niners, which doesn't necessarily mean anything, but it means doesn't mean everything, but it means something. But you're not going to sit a guy who won every single game that he started and finished last year. So Purdy's obviously
I agree. If his elbow's is good, then it's not a problem to me. Like
absolutely, I agree totally. But he is a little diminutive. So if he were to get banged up again this year, it would be interesting to see what happens with Sam Darnold with all that talent. You got a great offensive line. You got McCaffrey at running back. You got all these receivers and tight ends, Kittle, like they're loaded. So
he was moving.
He's never been on a team like this.
Right, and he was moving the ball pretty good last year with the Panthers. So he doesn't make that mistakes now. With those mistakes he did with the Jets.
Yeah.
So I think they're okay there with that.
Yeah.
If something happens
to fascinating. It's a whole fascinating story that with the three of them, I just think they're going to have to move Trey Lance. I just don't think you have people coming on saying that Shanahan is trying to screw Trey Lance, and it's like you realize they look bad.
Yeah. No.
And they don't want to look bad. Like they didn't pick him and try to look bad. They wanted him to do well. You know what I mean? So that's just ridiculous. But it's interesting to me. Sam Darnold still has some love around the league, and I don't know, maybe he's showing that he deserves it. So it'll be interesting there.
And another thing with Lance too, dude, is like he's got no trade value anymore.
Oh no, you're lucky if you get like a 5th or 6th round pick.
Oh, dude, yeah.
I don't even know if you'd get that, And I'm looking around the league and I'm saying, where could he go? Like, I mean, seriously considering where could he go? Like Minnesota? I don't know. Miami?
Cleveland? Backup Cleveland?
Maybe. I don't know if you want 2 shit shows as your
Is your boy Kellen Mond still a Viking or is he gone?
No, he's on Cleveland, I think. He's already the backup in Cleveland, so that's not going to happen. He played most of the game against the Jets.
That's right.
I
didn't know that. I didn't know that. I've been drinking.
They gave up on him.
My eyes hurt, Pete. I don't know. I'm not thinking.
I can't see anymore. So, yeah, I can't even think of too many places where he could go. Like that, who would be interested in? I was even watching the Houston game the other day, and I'm like, sorry, but Mills still throws the ball really well.
I'm a fan, dude. I'm a fan of his.
He's a good quarterback. I would love to see what he looks like with some talent around him too. So, and C.J. Stroud look back. So I don't know, like Tennessee. No, they just drafted. So I can't think of anywhere where it's like, oh yeah, it'll be good for him to go there. Like I wouldn't want him going to like Arizona, even though they'd never trade him in division, but. You don't want to sit behind Kyler Murray.
I tell you, I watched a little bit the other night of the Eagles game. Mariota looks terrible. Dude, if you don't want to play football anymore, then get out, dude. I know. Oh my God.
You're just cashing a paycheck. It's kind of sad. This is the 2nd pick in the draft. First pick in the draft?
Second,
right?
Job behind Jameis, I think, right?
Yeah. Incredible.
Incredible. So maybe Philly, I don't
know, man.
I don't know.
It's really tough. Like the draft picks are valuable. I'd sooner give up like a backup corner or something than a 5th round. I don't know. I really don't know what you could get. It might not be worth anything. So they might be stuck with him. But I think you want that. You want that story out of the building at this point. Let's move on. Let's do what's best for the kid and what's best for the organization.
Especially too, bro. Like we've talked about this a lot. Shanahan, a lot of pressure on this young fella now.
Yeah, not fire pressure, but
but
you got guys around you,
because
your contemporaries that have accomplished, and you haven't accomplished yet. You don't have that ring yet.
Kittle and McCaffrey are on the back 9 in their positions
for sure. A lot of those guys are.
Debo's already been banged up because he plays so much.
Who's a left tackle? I mean, he's still the best in the league, probably.
Trent Williams, but he's got to be 35.
Yeah, back half of his career for sure. Like still great, but back half. So
I mean, they lose their DC every other year. I mean, it's.
This is what I mean by if Trey Lance was good, they're not trying to screw the kid. He's just not ready. Okay, and this is a win now team, so that's why you got to move on. You got to figure something else out. Anyway, that's where we're at. Sam Darnold still unbelievable. Get multiple chances. I think that says something, right? Like a lot of people still see something to keep giving him these opportunities. So
yeah,
we'll see. Anyway, NFC East, let's do it.
Last year's NFC champion, the Philadelphia Eagles. They got some defensive replacements, mainly replaced by the Georgia Eagles or the Philadelphia Bulldogs, however you want to place that. They seem to fill their team with a lot of Bama and Georgia guys, and I don't blame them.
Not the worst idea.
They are winners in college, and they've been winners in the pros. So, like you said, not the worst idea. New running back situation, Miles Sanders out. DeAndre Swift in. They have like a three-headed monster there too, but I think Swift will be more the one back. Question for you, Super Bowl hangover. That usually seems to be a little bit of the case. Not so much lately as it was in years past. And the NFC is a little watered down, so I don't really see it from this team unless Hurts gets hurt. No pun intended, but I think this team's loaded and ready to go.
Okay, so let me start off by answering your question directly, which is I think they take a step back. Because okay. I think a few things went in their favor last year. They had a favorable schedule. And two things that have changed. Number one, Jalen Hurts is getting paid. So you have to make decisions. And they have made decisions. Miles Sanders is gone. There's a number of guys on defense that are gone. And you're replacing them with rookies that you're hoping are going to be starters. I think they're still loaded. The problem with the Eagles right now is they're starting to look like the Rams from a couple years ago when they did win the Super Bowl, so you got to throw this at them, where they're really top-heavy. There's still a lot of really good high-end talent on the starting lineup, but you're so concerned about injuries, and any injuries, if they get a couple, they're fucked because they just don't have the depth.
Yeah. Because of
the fact that they're paying more players top dollar now. So I think they take a step back, but I still do think they're a playoff team and wanted to better and still wanted to better. What did they win? What did they go? 13-4 last year, 14-3, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't think that happens. I think it's more like 11 or 12 wins, which is still a playoff team and still very dangerous. And if they go into playoffs, they have that playoff experience. So I don't even think home field is the most important thing in the world, all the way through. So I think they're still very dangerous, still very good. I question their depth. I question that. I know they had to let go of some guys because you just can't. You're a Super Bowl team. They're free agents. You can't pay everybody. So you got to make tough decisions, So we'll see what happens. I think those are the biggest questions. Those are the biggest questions. So I think they're still very, very good.
I agree.
But that division, if you think 2 years ago we were doing this podcast and we were arguing with some of our listeners, Mike Dean from Dean Dome Sports, saying that this was the worst division in all of football. 2 years later, this is one of the toughest divisions in football. Right?
Yeah.
So things have changed pretty quickly in the division. Last year, this division had three playoff teams. Now, maybe that says a little something about the rest of the NFC, but there were three playoff teams, say, for whatever reason. So it's a much tougher division.
Schedule, brutal. Week 2 Vikings, week 5 at Rams, week 6 at Jets, week 11 at Chiefs, week 12 Buffalo home, week 13 Niners home, week 14 at Dallas, week 15 at Seattle.
It's tough.
And week 18 at the Giants, which can mean a lot for both teams. If they're playing for home field or a bye, Giants looking to get in, then that game can mean a lot. Snowy, cold, hopefully.
So
ugly.
There's your third factor. Like, you don't have a third place schedule anymore. You have a first place schedule.
Yep, exactly.
Makes a big difference. It makes a big difference. So we'll see what happens with that.
Second place last year, playoff team, the Dallas Cowboys. Zeke out. Tony Pollard, the feature back. I don't love it. I love Tony Pollard. I'm a big fantasy football guy. I love Tony Pollard the last couple of years as that role. He got a lot of touches, return game. Now as the starting running back, you're not going to have that. And I don't know if he's
not going to get the return.
And I don't know if he could be a bell cow back anyway. He's coming off a broken leg in the playoff game. Although Zeke was shot too, but they need to address that kind of guy that could take 12, 15 carries from him. But we'll see.
The problem is he's a little undersized.
Yes.
And this goes back to the whole Jonathan Taylor issue, not with him specifically, but the idea of running backs. Like, how many years? Like, let's say he can carry the load for this year. And how many years can an undersized running back carry the load?
Right.
On a 17-game schedule? It's tough. I mean, that's a big ask. And this is why teams are very reluctant. Ezekiel Elliott is one of the very reasons that teams don't want to give that second big contract, because it's hard to fulfill the contract, because you just get the shit kicked out of you for too much. It's the most physical position probably on the field.
New offensive coordinator in town, Kellen Moore out to the Chargers, and now I think it's Schottenheimer's kid is the quarterback, is the offensive coordinator now.
Yeah, but McCarthy's calling the plays.
But that's also what scares me with their run game too, because McCarthy likes chucking that thing around 40 times a game. So. We've talked about this for years now in this podcast. Dak, good, not great, not great under pressure. More of a stat guy than a winner.
He needs help. The problem with Dak is he's not truly top 10. I know people want to think that he is.
No, he's
He's
not
just
top 10.
not.
No,
now, when
he's
you
not.
surround him with good players, he's pretty damn good. But when you see when they have to throw the ball 35, 40, 45 times, they never win. They never win because he's not that guy. He's
Right.
not that guy. Like, he's just not. So, and then the other side is, during camp you hear all these stories about the two things that bother me. Number one, you're hearing about all the interceptions, which is bad enough as it is. But what really makes my ears perk up when I hear defensive players, it's one thing to talk shit and say, yeah, got you, man. That's my ball. Whatever. It's another thing to start calling your starting quarterback a bitch and like really laying into him, which is what Diggs did. And I question the faith that his teammates have in him. Like, I just don't. We talked about this before. I don't know that happens to Tom Brady. I don't even know that happens to Kirk Cousins. Like, I don't even think that happens to Justin Fields. Like, that bothers me a little bit. And I don't know if that's a Dak problem or a McCarthy problem. It's probably a little bit of both. But I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like what that means. I don't like what it means.
Top 5 defensively, great defense.
Yes.
Micah Parsons, Diggs on the outside. They got a good front seven. Van Der Esch, a linebacker.
If he stays healthy, Van Der Esch is phenomenal, but
Agreed.
he rarely does.
And that
Micah
defense is different when he's on the field.
Oh, Micah Parsons is just – I mean, he's the closest to, like, Lawrence Taylor that we've seen since.
Yeah,
it's really pretty close. And he could do so many goddamn things. And he's super smart. He's just unbelievable. He's probably right now, if not the best top 5 defensive players in the league right now. Like, there's just no doubt about it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Scary guy. He's one of those guys that every time he's on the field, you have to no matter where he lines up. And the problem is he lines up all over the fucking place. So you never, you really got to pay attention. And that messes with offenses because it could change your scheme, whether or not he's at middle linebacker, outside linebacker, defensive end. I don't know. Maybe they'll line him up at goddamn tackle. Who knows? So it really messes with how your blocking scheme is going to be.
Schedule, week 1, Sunday night football at the New York Football Giants.
Let me stop you there. This is how so early, but this is a huge game.
I agree.
Not record-wise, but like what it says.
Mentally.
Yes, I really do think. I know that's crazy to say, and the teams would never admit it. I think it says something. If they lose that game, let's say they only score like 13 points or something like that, McCarthy is already going to be getting shit on for play calling and that kind of stuff. So what if they come out and win 35-10? Now the pressure now falls onto Daniel Jones. Like, it's just,
I know,
it's amazing how big, not for the record, but for the aftermath.
Yeah.
for what comes Monday, that's why.
Yeah, Giants and Cowboys seem to open up a lot on prime time, which I get.
But they're both contenders this year. That's why it's so big. They're kind of on the level.
Week 2, the New York Jets go to Dallas, Jerry's World.
Jets will kill.
Week 5 at Niners. Week 6 at Chargers. Week 9 at Eagles. Week 15 at Bills. Week 16 at Dolphins. And Week 17, our old faithful, the Detroit Lions, come to town.
That game could be huge. That game could end up being huge.
The third-place team, playoff team, surprise last year, the New York Giants.
Shocker.
Darren Waller in at tight end.
How many times last year during the season did we say, all right, this is it? Like, they're done winning now.
At least until Halloween.
I think it was a little later than that.
You're probably right.
We were wrong. Like, Dable just did a great job keeping that thing together. So, yeah, it was crazy.
Darren Waller in. Jones, new contract. Very, very, very expensive. Barkley kind of franchise tag, kind of not. He didn't take the tag, but the money's kind of the same thing. A very weird situation.
So what was it? Just a regular contract?
Regular 1-year contract, but like the money's similar. I don't know. It was very weird.
Weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's there.
Those Penn State guys. Can they repeat last year's
Hey, let me
success?
ask you, does that mean that they can franchise him next year for the franchise price?
Yeah.
Fascinating. Why would he do that?
I know. It makes no sense.
Okay. Anyway, it doesn't. Because if you took the franchise this year, then the price tag is almost double next year.
Right.
Like, you get quarterback money next year. So anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Can they repeat last year's success?
I couldn't believe they did it last year. So I don't know. It's a weird thing because I didn't feel like their defensive personnel was very good last year, but they played pretty good defense. We know that they don't have great receivers, and I don't think Daniel Jones is really great. So it's like, you're not a great quarterback. You don't have these great receivers. Darren Waller's there, sure, that's nice, but like, can they repeat it? I don't know. I am genuinely lost. This is the one team, maybe more than any team in the league, that I'm a little lost. What I do like is, because Barkley signed that contract, there's no noise. The Jets have sucked all the noise, all the oxygen out of the room, and the Giants get to just lay low, all about their business, and get ready for the season. And while I don't like that on the Jet side of it, if you're a Giants fan, this is exactly what you want. No buzz, no chatter, no chaos. Just get down to work and let's get the season going. And I think of all the teams in the NFC East right now, they're the quietest, which is always a good sign.
I agree.
Always a good sign.
I said this to you about the Steelers a couple weeks ago. I like the quietness of it. You're just going about their business.
Look at all the teams that had chaos last year, and half of them either missed the playoffs or got knocked out early. Tampa, Green Bay,
Broncos, Raiders.
All the noise and nothing to show.
Browns.
And the Giants were quiet last year and somehow made the goddamn playoffs. So
Yep.
And they do. Yeah, I guess I just talked myself into saying, I guess they can't do it again.
Schedule: Week 3 at the Niners, Week 5 at the Dolphins, Week 6 at the Bills. I think the Jets and them play somewhere in between.
I think that Dolphins game is a really tough spot for the Giants there, just because of all those weapons that assuming Tua is healthy.
Week 10 at Dallas. But you said Week 1's huge too.
Huge.
Week 15 at the Saints. Week 16 at Philly, and Week 17 Rams come to town. That's a tough game for the Rams if they're coming east.
And we'll see where the Rams are. That game might not mean shit for them if they're out of the playoffs. Who knows?
Yeah, that's a tough game for the Rams.
That might be a break right there for the Giants if they're fighting for a playoff spot. The Rams are out of it, and they're coming east, and you're home. Oh, that could be. Nothing's a layup in this league, but that could be as close to a layup as there is. What was Week 16?
At Philly.
Yeah, that's tough. It's tough. Boy, to get a break with the Rams at the end there. Go ahead.
Washington Commanders. Sam Howell, QB1. Eric, the enemy offensive coordinator, who already is starting some waves out there.
I know.
Ron Rivera, hot seat city.
For sure.
And they always have a great defensive line. That keeps them in so many games, dude. They got the Bama guys. They got Chase Young. But Chase Young hasn't been good for a year and a half now.
Dude, they didn't give him his 5th year.
No, they didn't. They must know something.
On that. Yeah, that was curious to me. That was so curious to me. So I was thinking about this the other day when I knew we were going to be doing this division. If you just break down the Commanders and the Giants, who has a better offensive line? I think Washington does. Who has a better running game? It's close, but
I'd lean Giants there.
Giants have a better running back. I don't know if they have a better running game, but they have a better running back for sure.
That helps.
The receivers, it's not even close. No, Washington has way better receivers. Giants certainly have a better tight end, but Washington is okay there. And just defensively overall, Washington is better with a real great defensive head coach. Sam Howell is like the big, X factor here compared to Daniel Jones. Like, let's not forget that Daniel Jones threw 15 touchdown passes last year. Like, he didn't have some barn burner year where he threw 30 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. It was like 15 and 6. It wasn't amazing. This is where all the controversy came with him getting a huge contract. And what we've seen from Sam Howell in a preseason so far, it's like, this kid could be serviceable, and if they protect him with those weapons, everybody's got Washington in last place. I get it because the rest of the division is strong. But are they really that much worse than everybody else? I don't know.
Oh, dude, Rom. Oh, so good. Sorry.
He's been struggling. He can't putt today.
You should see the play you just almost made from around the corner. Wow, Murakami put up a 61. Jesus Christ. The 61s are flying like they're like hotcakes last couple weeks. We'll get into that later.
It's all Sam Howell to me.
Let me ask you.
I know he doesn't be amazing, but is he good? Is he a good player? Because I don't think any of us.
We liked him at Carolina. We liked him at Carolina. Tough as nails. He had good guys around him.
Yeah, the year before his last year. I think that would be his sophomore year.
Well, yeah. Well, the running backs left.
He would have been a top 10 pick if he would have came out then.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 running backs leave for the NFL. All the receivers have the offensive line.
Yeah.
So, and then he struggled his junior year, but he's a good player, and they love him.
North Carolina, to me, and they've been putting guys in the NFL as long back to Lawrence Taylor. They're never great, but they got good players.
I think about that all the time. Like, there's so many elite players that come from there, but meanwhile, they're never like a contender.
No, they never win the ACC. Like,
they could be good this year with Drake May, but that's a conversation for another day. So
I think he's overrated, but we'll get into that maybe next week.
We shall see.
The addition by subtraction of Daniel Schneider.
I don't think it hurts. I think it certainly helps.
I think so too.
Even if it's just a short-term,
energy in the building, or
we got that shit done and over with. We don't have to worry about that cloud over our heads anymore. I definitely think that's a positive. I think even the coaching staff probably feels freed from that.
Shit.
Even just the investigation alone, constantly having a cattle prod up your ass, looking up into your emails and your personal messages and all this kind of stuff, like just to have that shit done and gone, it's probably a relief and probably frees them up to do a better job. So, and they've looked good in the preseason. Again, preseason doesn't mean dick, but you look for things, not so much scores, wins, and losses, but what do you see? And I see Sam Howell looks like to me, he looks like what Baker Mayfield was supposed to look like when he got drafted number 1 overall. Like a very competent, accurate, semi-athletic quarterback. Slightly undersized, good arm. Dude, he makes good decisions. He's super accurate. I like what I've seen so far. Forget about the wins and losses. I just like what I see. You know what I mean? The other last game, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's always a good sign. So that's the curious thing. I just look at a team. I'm like, okay, receivers are better, offensive line is better, defense is better. I think Giants have a better head coach, and I think the Giants have a better running back. It comes down to quarterback. So, and we don't love Daniel Jones. Most people nobody loves Daniel Jones. You might like him. Nobody loves him.
No, that's true.
So, I don't know. And this goes back to what I said when we were talking about the Giants. I'm not sure what to think of them. I hate when I see teams get a mediocre quarterback and below average wide receivers. This is how you get 15 touchdowns last year. Only 15 touchdowns. And you're winning games 74. They can do that again this year?
I know.
I think that's a big ask. All these
really tough to do
games.
That to your defense too, dude. Honestly.
Year in, year out. Yeah. So Washington is I don't think they're as bad as people think.
I think I agree with you on that.
I don't think they're great. You basically have a rookie quarterback, but I don't think they're as bad as people think. I really don't.
So,
dude, they were winning games with Taylor Heineke. Sam Howell's better than Taylor Heineke.
This is going to go against what I'm just saying, but so in division order, I got the Commanders finishing 4th. However, I think this league this year could be kind of like the opposite of last year. Not like everyone's going to be 8 and 9, 9 and 8, but something like the NFC South last year was ugly, and we'll get into that in 5 minutes. But I could see the Cowboys, Giants, and Commanders being right around the same record-ish.
I agree. I think these games. I think the NFC East is not as obvious as people think, because Dallas has a great defense. Washington has a great defense. Giants don't have a bad defense, but they might have the worst defense in the division. That doesn't mean it's a bad defense. It's just the worst in the division.
Man,
you know what I'm saying?
That's a great question, dude. I like Wink.
I'm just saying personnel-wise.
I think you might be right. Although, I don't know. Philly lost a lot of guys, dude.
Philly lost a lot of guys. That's what I'm saying. This division is funkier and closer than you think. I really do think so.
So
then you throw in the fact that Kellen Moore is gone and McCarthy. Do you trust McCarthy calling the plays? So, I think Dallas is actually pretty damn good. I don't like the run game. I don't love the run game either, dude. I think that's so. There's intrigue with every team. There's like an issue with every team. So
I got
like
Commanders.
let me put it this way. So you're looking at you have schedule there. Like when does Philly play Washington?
Oh yeah. So I'm sorry. Yes, Commander's schedule. Week 2 at Broncos. I put that on there because Denver might not be a disaster yet, but I wrote that before Judy went down, so I don't know. Week 3 Bills. Week 4 at Philly.
I mean, so that's what I'm saying. On paper, we just assume, Philly wins that game. I don't know that that's so obvious.
They beat them in Philly last year, didn't they?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying I would pick Washington, but I don't think it's a layup. I don't think Washington is some layup. This is a tough, physical, team with a defensive head coach who's physical.
Yeah, all three of their coaches are fucking old school guys. Bieniemy, Rivera, and Del Rio. They're all old school guys, man.
So
they're gonna get after your ass.
That's all I'm saying is be careful. Be careful.
Week 7 at Giants, Week 10 at Seahawks, Week 12 at Cowboys, 13 Dolphins home, Week 16 at the Jets, and Week 17 Niners coming to town. That's a fucking good game.
So even like the Jets game, like I would love to sit here and say, Jets are going to win this game. Washington's coming. It's a short ride, and you're coming to a stadium that you're familiar with.
Yep.
So like, that's a tough spot. I don't want to play Washington late in this. I don't want to play physical defensive team late in the season.
Nope. You want to play the fucking Bears.
Banged up offensive line and shit. Like, no. So I'm not saying they're great. I just be careful. Don't sleep on Washington. I'll put it that way.
For me, Commanders in last. Kind of barely, but I kind of like their team too. I don't know. I got Dallas in third. I think their run game. I think the Cowboys fans are going to miss Kelmo more than you think. Because McCarthy's, I don't know. I don't know. I got the Giants in second. I just think they play physical. I think Barkley's going to want to play for a contract. He's going to play great. I think Jones' pressure's off him now a little bit. I think he's confident. Waller's going to help. I still don't love their weapons, like you said, but their schedule's not really, really too hard either. And I got Philly. I just think they're a head above the rest of them at this point. I agree. I don't think they're going to be 14-3, but I think I think they'll win by 2 or 3 games in the division.
Okay, so I have Commanders in last, somewhere around like 7-10. Wouldn't even be surprising me if they were like 8-9. It's a first year. It's really first year starting quarterback, and the rest of the league doesn't have that. So that's the only reason. But I think they're dangerous. I think they're super dangerous. I'm going to put the Giants in third. I just don't think that you can replicate all these tough wins when you're just. I just don't think that happens again. I think shit evens out, balances out over time. Just like I don't think Minnesota, like last year, had won 11 one-score games, and there were 11-0 in one-score games or something, whatever their thing was. These things balance out over time. So I'm taking the Giants for third. I'm going to knock Philly down to second place. I think it'll be close, maybe up until the last game of the season. But I think the Dallas Cowboys actually win the division this year, probably by 1 game, probably comes down to the last game of the season. I just think they're more complete at this point. I think McCarthy, we forget McCarthy won a Super Bowl. This guy's not a moron. He understands the history of Dak. I believe he has to understand it and knows that this guy does best when they run the football well, when they're balanced. And when they do that, Dak is pretty good at play action, and you got guys like CeeDee Lamb out there. I think it could be very dangerous. So I think Dallas actually is I'm going to take Dallas. The McCarthy thing does scare me. Make no mistake. I think Dallas is going to win this division by 1 game. So Philly's still in the playoffs, like I was saying before we start. Like I think they're still a playoff team. I think that defense is going to be a bigger issue than people realize.
Do you have the Giants in the playoffs?
I can't say. I don't know. They're right there, and I would say no normally, but I think the rest of the NFC.
Get off the fence.
Yeah, I would normally say no, but the rest of the NFC is just so weird that I don't know that they're going to get 3 teams in again this year. Somebody's got to lose, so I'll say no. I think the Giants are not going to make it. We'll say they don't make it.
NFC South.
Well, there's teams in this division.
Oh God.
Which I think might be better than people realize. Somebody's got to win the division, first of all, and that could hurt the Giants with a playoff spot. I'll get to that later.
Okay. I want to feel you there. I got to see it because there's some talent. There's some teams here I kind of like a little bit, but I don't know. Like,
you know what there are? There are parts of teams
yes,
that I really like.
Sure.
But there are few whole teams that I really like.
I know.
But if the whole team steps up to what the part of the team can do, I think there's a couple teams that could be dangerous.
Last year's division winner, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the best who's ever to do it, the man who walks on water. Tom Brady has called it quits. Baker Mayfield comes in the door, looking to replace him.
Fourth team in 4 years. Fourth team in 3 years.
That's crazy. Their offensive line wasn't great. Last year, Brady was getting his ass kicked. I think that's part of why he retired. I don't think it's much better. I think they lost another guy or two off that offensive line. Man, I know we kind of root for Baker here.
I don't as much anymore. Because I saw an interview with him just yesterday where he's like, I know my talent. I know my capability. I know my leadership. And I'm like, bro, have you learned nothing?
So you kind of
have you learned nothing?
You just set me up there perfectly. Thank you for that. Because how long is Godwin and Evans going to put up with that shit? Especially when he's not completing balls, he's taking sacks, he's that cocky.
Godwin's a pretty good teammate. He's a pretty quiet guy.
Mike Evans is a great teammate. No,
he's a great teammate. He's a great teammate, but he's not quiet.
No.
And if shit starts to go south, don't be.
You're talking to a guy. You're talking to a guy that put up with Johnny Manziel. He's not fucking. This team, I do not like the head coach.
Nope. I like him as a coordinator. I love him as a coordinator.
So me too. This as a veteran-laden team, this can go south real quick.
Very, very
Evans
quickly.
and Godwin, White on defense, Devontae David on defense. This thing could get ugly real fast.
So let me ask you this. There is some real talent there. I mean, there is some real NFL talent here. Do you think there's any chance of them having a good season, being a playoff team? Is it Tom Brady?
I think they could flirt with it. The Brady and Baker's a huge gap.
Oh my God, of course. Yeah.
But what do we always say? It's quarterback.
Of course. I'm saying, is that the only reason we're thinking it?
I think they could flirt with it. Fournette's gone as well. You know, Gronk's gone again. You know, so they got Fournette. I mean, they got that kid White's not bad. I think they could flirt with the playoffs just because the division's like shaky. I don't see them going in as a wild card though. Like if they don't win the division,
there's like a real tank vibe around Tampa right now.
I know that's why they could go fat.
If they start 0-2, 1-4, I could see them like trading off parts right quick.
Lincoln Riley, Caleb Williams to the Buccaneers to combination.
As I said, Mike Evans to the Jets. Jets just lost what's his name to retirement.
Yeah, retirement. Something's going on there. That's weird.
He left the team for a couple of days because of some mental health issues. I think the grind of the NFL was just too much for him. You know,
he was a phenomenal player at Western. He was tremendous.
He was really good with Tennessee. You know how excited I was that he came.
Yeah.
What am I talking about here? What the hell's his name?
Corey Davis.
Yeah, I mean, I love the signing.
Nobody more excited than McCole Hardman now that Corey Davis left.
Oh, sure. More touches, of course.
Schedule for the Bucs: Week 1 at Vikings, Week 3 Eagles home, Week 4 at Saints, Week 6 the Lions come into town, Week 8 at Bills, Week 11 at Niners, Week 15 at Green Bay, and Week 16 the Jaguars come calling. Not a far ride for them.
No.
Last year the Carolina Panthers finished second with your boy Sam Darnold at the helm.
And
Bryce Young. Yeah, I guess. Bryce Young to start. Frank Wright in at head coach, who we like a lot.
A lot.
Young, fast defense that Matt Rule drafted that we were like we really, really liked, and we just thought it just never got there for Rule.
They never got the pieces on offense fast enough.
The thing that I don't like about this team is there are not too many weapons around them. I don't know what Miles Sanders has left. Adam Thielen's their number one receiver. He's long in the tooth as well. Not really a tight end kind of guy. Young's going to be going through rookie issues as it is.
The worst part of all of it is their offensive line is not very good.
No.
And if you watch the preseason games, and just so you know, in preseason, teams don't game plan. So they're just going out basically doing their basic stuff for the most part. And he has been getting just eviscerated. I mean, mauled. And he's, at best, he's 5'10", maybe 195. I just question whether or not he can survive a whole season just getting mauled every week. I don't know that anybody could, regardless of your size. And he's on the smaller end. I think it's a big ask, man. It's not good. What I've seen so far in the offensive line is not good.
Schedule. Week 3 at Seattle, week 4 Vikings home, week 5 at Lions, week 6 at Dolphins, week 11 Cowboys home, week 14 at the Saints, week 16 Packers. Wow, Packers play a lot of these teams late in the year. And so the Jaguars, week 17 at Jacksonville. I don't know.
Tough one. And let me say this. If people are asking, well, how come they don't have any weapons? Well, they gave up DJ Moore to move up to number 1 to get Bryce Young. So you don't have Bryce Young if you don't give up one of your real weapons. So, and that's a tough schedule for a young quarterback.
Yeah.
It's just tough. It's going to be a tough season.
Especially late, dude. He could be bruised up, like you said, too.
I mean.
Oh,
that's what I mean. With a bad offensive line, it's just tough. It's tough.
Third place team last year, a team that could never get going. They were good one week, bad the next. The New Orleans Saints.
Mm-hmm.
They made the right move at quarterback. They went and got Derek Carr, who we like. I think he's going to be really, really good there, too.
Oh, he looks so good. So good.
Alvin Kamara, long in the tooth as well, suspended for a couple games. They got Jamal Williams from the Lions last year, who scored like 75 touchdowns from like 1 yard in. Defense is always in the top 10. Really good scrambling defense, defensive head coach as well. And they got one of the best home field advantages in the league. So if they get cooking, if they get off to a good start, that place is going to be rocking. They're tough to beat in that building. You got 8 or 9 wins almost right then and there. So
listen, we've talked about 2 teams before them so far, and we were struggling to find good things to say about both of those teams. Now you bring in Derek Carr, good offensive line, solid running game, decent weapons, very good defense. You're in New Orleans.
Indoors.
Yeah, bad division. Theoretically bad division. Indoors, you should be feeling pretty good. I don't know if they're Super Bowl contenders. I don't know. I'm not going to go quite that far that they're like in the Super Bowl bubble. At least not yet. I think I like Derek Carr more than you, but I think you think he's good. I think I like him a little more than you. And when you look at the rest of that division, you're like, oh, it's fucking great.
To be fair, you like them more than me on the Raiders. I like him a lot this year.
He looks fantastic. And he looks invigorated. He looks excited.
The fucking Raiders. The Raiders just drain the shit out of you, dude. In more ways
it's nice to be wanted, right?
Yeah,
it's nice to be wanted.
That's true, too.
It sucks to not be wanted.
That's true.
The Raiders, like the idea of, I still don't get it, but the idea that they sat him at the end of the year, it's like saying like, we can't fucking get rid of you fast enough. I mean, who likes that? But yet I got to stick around. So it's kind of like what you're seeing with Aaron Rodgers. It's that rejuvenated feeling of a fresh start, new environment, and being wanted. Obviously the Jets pursued Aaron Rodgers. New Orleans went real hard after Derek Carr. So it's kind of like, hey, I got to return the favor here, man. I got to live up to it. And in a weak division, he's a king.
Schedule. Also very likable. If I'm a Saints fan. Week 3 at Packers. Week 3 at Packers. Get that cold, not cold.
Game.
Yeah, not cold yet. Blah blah.
Jordan Love. Yeah.
Jacksonville, week 7. Week 10 at the Vikings. Week 12 at the Falcons. A divisional rival game, always a good fun game. Week 13, Lions again. This team's a pain in the ass.
They are.
Week 15, the Giants come into town. That could be a huge game. Early
15?
December. Oh, beautiful.
They're lucky it's home, not up in MetLife.
I know. That's a tough game for the Giants. Week 16 at the Rams. Again, another question mark game for the Rams. I don't hate their schedule, dude. And then you got the Panthers and Bucks twice, and I don't know.
I mean, what else can you say? You got the best quarterback in the league, probably the best defense in the league, definitely the best offensive. One of the best offensive line in the league. We'll get to what might be the best in the next. They should have a good season. They should really have a good season.
And I think they play the AFC
Things
South.
Things lined up for them nicely.
Yeah.
Things lined up for them nicely.
And last place, the Atlanta Falcons. We touched on it before with Mariota last year. Just a train wreck. Took a top 10 pick on a running back, Bijan Robinson. Not a lot of teams are doing that. They think maybe he's a missing piece. I don't. The kid's a great player. Another team with a decent offensive line. Desmond Ridder,
very good offensive line.
Second year, Desmond Ridder, your boy from Cincinnati.
He's the question mark, right? Like, we still don't know. We saw some good things, but they were very careful with him last season.
I didn't hate that move. They weren't going anywhere last year.
No, I like that they did it, and I like
Ease
that
him
they
in.
waited. They gave him some time to watch for a little while, then come in, and they were very careful with him. And I like that. Don't put too much on him too early. But he is the X factor for sure. And then what are we going to get out of their defense? Like, because their defense has been pretty bad for a long time. But they have I think PFF has their offensive line ranked number 6.
Wow.
Like, it's a very good offensive line, which means now you got Bijan Robinson, which, I'm with you. You know me, I don't take running backs first round, at least not top 20. You want later on, whatever, it's different. But he is a baller. I mean, he's a ball player, and he's actually really good. He's a runner, he's a pass catcher, and he's good in pass protection too, which is freaking huge with a young quarterback. Right?
And they got Drake London at wide receiver and Kyle Pitts at tight end. They got some action over there.
To either move the ball or keep the ball. Grind out some first downs, keep the ball, and not put your defense in precarious positions too much.
Offensive head coach.
I like the head coach. I think
he
came into a fucking god-awful situation. This was maybe the worst team in the league when Arthur Smith took over. And I think he's done a very good, methodical job of building this team. He's been given shown some patience from above, which is nice to see in this league. A team recognizes, unlike, say, like the Houston Texans, who you're a shit team and you give no leeway to your head coach. Arthur Smith has. I keep wanting to say Arthur Jones. Arthur Smith has gotten some leeway, which I like. Yeah, we hear no pressure even this year. This will be his 3rd year. We heard no pressure about him having to produce. They expect him to do better. I would suspect they expect him to do better because it's not a horrible team. But I like the methodical way that they've been going about this. I like it. I like the direction. They're trending up.
Yeah. Schedule: Packers week 2, week 3 at the Lions, week 4 at the Jaguars, week 5 Vikings home, week 13 at the Jets, and week 18 at the Saints.
That'll be large.
In order for me, I got the Panthers in 4th. I think it's just a lot to ask for a rookie quarterback.
I do too.
Head coach, a new spot. I like next year we could be talking about them like the Falcons this year. Possibly.
If you would have asked me about what order before preseason even started, I don't know that I would have had Carolina in last, but I do now.
Yeah.
If you can't protect a young quarterback, you're in trouble.
You're doomed.
You're in trouble.
3rd place, I got the Buccaneers. I think that could be a sinking ship, no pun intended, fast. A lot of veteran players could want out. Trade me, get out. I don't want to play with Baker. Yep. I don't want to play with Todd Bowles anymore. Goodbye, good night.
I agree totally, and I think there's a chance that they could be competing with Carolina for that last place position, especially if, like you said, things go south quickly. If it gets bad early, I think they go into the tank for Caleb Williams kind of mode.
Yeah.
The kid from USC. And I think they could just sell off some pieces. I think if this team were to start off like 0-3, 1-4, 1-5, I think pieces could be moved fucking quickly.
Yep.
Real quick. Left tackle, Mike Evans, those kind of players, linebackers who, I think things could move very quickly.
Yeah, if Denver doesn't get off to a bad start and whatever, I wonder if Mike Evans likes Denver.
Everybody likes Denver.
I know.
I mean, not being serious.
It's a beautiful city.
People, you've seen this for years. Players have no problem and coaches have no problem signing with Denver.
Yeah.
So new ownership, that could change things. How impatient is the new ownership? But the previous ownership was great. So that's only, wild card there is that it's a new ownership, and who knows how much the Waltons, the Walmart ownership, how patient they are. But
2nd place for me, I got the Falcons. I think they're going to take a big step up. I think we just talked about them. There's a lot to like. And number 1, I got the Saints. I think it sets up perfectly for them. A veteran quarterback that's excited, knows what he's doing. Coaching staff's been around a long time. Weapons in every level you want. So
I'm with you on the order. Atlanta is the team that I had in mind when you asked me, are the Giants going to make the playoffs?
Yeah, me too.
I think Atlanta
and that's why I was like,
could be right there. You know, their defense is pretty rough, but they're in a much easier division. And they got a really, really good offensive line, and they can shorten games by running the ball a little bit with a great running back and a good offensive line. As opposed to the Giants, who are in a very tough division with tough defense, all tough defenses. Everybody's got a good defense in the NFC. So, like, I think it's Atlanta by the end of the season. If they continue on the trajectory that they've been on, I think that is who the Giants could have an issue with. I think that could be who's fighting for that spot.
That's all I got. Next week we'll do the NFC North. And we're getting closer, and then we'll do college football preview next week as well.
Very cool. Hey, earlier today, we had the opportunity to interview Dan Garrett, head football coach of the Kean University Cougars. Mm-hmm. The Cougars. This is the animal, not the
MILF
older lady. So here's our interview with Dan Garrett of Kean University. All right. So I want to tell you one of the interesting things that he told me about. I don't even know if you know about this, because I talked to him actually before the interview started, and I said, like, I appreciate you even joining us. I know you're really busy, probably got two-a-days going on and stuff like that. He starts laughing at him. I'm like, what? He goes, we're not even allowed to do two-a-days anymore. I'm like, what?
No way.
He goes, dude, that was like 10 years ago. They changed the rule. So he said 10 years ago.
Holy shit.
10 years ago, they said you can have a double session, but then the next day you have to have a single. And then you can have, you have to alternate.
Yeah.
And then about 7 years ago, not last year, this has been going on for a while. This is how long we haven't known about it, how much things have changed.
Well,
you're only allowed a single session every day, but you can have a walkthrough later in the day. So what he does is he'll do a full-throated practice. They'll go watch some film, talk about what the mistakes were in practice, and then try to do a walkthrough to correct those mistakes. But it's amazing. And he was concerned, it's tough because you're missing out on what it is to go through the grind of double sessions, getting ready for a football season.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, dude.
We're big football guys here. I got to be careful how I word this. This is a prime example of why the world is as soft as it is.
Right.
And not everyone played football. I understand that. I'm just,
well, you know what his point was?
It's that kind of mentality of dude, we had 3-a-days when I played for you.
Triple sessions. Absolutely.
Oh my God.
So what his point was, the problem is there's always somebody who takes advantage and screws things up for everybody else. So there's a fucking 300 college football teams. There's more than that, but one team, one coach acts an asshole and just treats players like shit. So the whole NCAA has to decide, no, can't do that anymore. And that's the problem. So, but we talked about it. He has adjusted, made different adjustments over the years. He's been there for 21 years, 18, going into his 18th as a head coach. So, he's made adjustments over the years. Recruiting has changed. Social media is part of recruiting. There was just so many things that I was like, oh my God, I never even thought of it, because I haven't been coaching 20 years, almost 20 years now. So
yeah,
it was very interesting. We appreciate him coming on. So we'll be checking out the scores week to week. They so their conference is the NJAC, the New Jersey Athletic Conference, Division III, and they're predicted for 4th place this year out of, I think, 10 teams. So they're top half of the league this year. So some pretty decent expectations. We hope, we wish them the best.
Yeah,
hope they do
cool.
really well. And we'll keep an eye on him. And he said he'll join us again, closer to the end of the season, or maybe after the season when things settle down, and we'll get a little breakdown of how things went. I know
maybe a little bye week action if we catch him.
Absolutely. You never know. We'll keep an eye. So good luck to the Kean Cougars this year. I know you're Yankees, my Yankees, our Yankees. Yeah, we don't even want ownership now, right?
To pivot to baseball. 9-game losing streak snapped last night. Judge had 3 bombs, hit one today to start the game off to a good start, but they They blew another one today, 6-5.
How bad is this team if Aaron Judge isn't on it? Like,
Dude,
they're not good, but how bad are they
They're not good with them on it.
Good God.
I don't really have much to say. My emotion has been dried up.
They can't hit.
Dude, I got it written down.
It
just shows you how bad this team was put together. Brian Cashman spoke yesterday. He just makes me sick, dude. You put this team together, bro. Like, you're the guy that's responsible for trading the young kids for washed up Montez, Sonny Gray. The list goes on and on. Every guy you traded for last year at the break was either hurt when you got him or hurt now. It's ridiculous. We've touched on this. Analytics is where baseball is. I understand that they're not going to go fully away from it. You just have the wrong analytical team, dude. You got to
the problem.
You got to shake things up. It's wrong.
But you would think the numbers are the numbers, right? Like, you wouldn't even need a team. It should just be the numbers are the numbers. But the problem is it doesn't work that way, because what I did yesterday is no guarantee of what I'm going to do today. That's the problem with analytics. Just because I did something yesterday or last season doesn't mean I'm going to do it again today. Sometimes you just need your eyes, dude. Sometimes you just need your eyes.
Something we
I'll give you an example. When I was younger, the hot chick to say, like, oh, if I can get anybody, was Pam Anderson. Okay, but if you look at Pam Anderson now, I'm not saying she's an ugly woman, but she's older. You can see it. So you don't use the Pam Anderson analogy anymore. Whereas someone like Jennifer Aniston was never the hottest chick, but she was always good looking, and she's still good looking. She kind of hasn't changed at all. So you look and you say, well, sure, I'm still down with Jennifer Aniston, but not so much Pam Anderson. Forget the double D numbers. Forget what she was. Use your eyes. What do you see?
Yeah.
How come I don't need Google?
That's pretty good.
Yeah. How come I don't need Google to see you can't hit? Do you, like, use your eyes, use your brain? Do you just, the problem becomes, like, do you know, are you basically admitting that you know so little about baseball that you can't rely on yourself? You have to rely on a program? You have to rely on a computer to tell you? Then what are you even there for?
You know, and to go one step further, what you're saying is, like, that's a great way of looking at it. But they make it worse. By 2 years ago, this guy wasn't good, and then you still went out and got him. Josh Donaldson.
They're still asking Pam Anderson out.
Yeah, dude, like,
well, she's still good looking. Maybe she'll come back. No, she's 55 years old now. That's it. She's a good looking 55-year-old. She's not Pam Anderson anymore. She's just some 55-year-old decent looking woman. You use your eyes.
Yeah.
You can see it. You don't have to go to the numbers sometimes. You know where the numbers are nice? In the minutia, in the small areas, in the corners. But I don't need a computer to tell me that Tony Gwynn was a great fucking hitter. You know what I mean? So this is the problem. Like, I have no problem with analytics. I think it's a great piece. But it should be a piece. There's no reason we can't use both, especially when you got the money. If you're Oakland, Minnesota, Kansas City, maybe Tampa, maybe you don't have that luxury because you can't make mistakes, right?
Did you say Pittsburgh, Cincinnati?
Yeah. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, like, there's a number of them. But if you're the Dodgers, Yankees, Orioles, like
Mets,
Philly, Mets, you can do both. You can use both. Be smart. Like, you can do that. You're baseball guys. You don't know anything? Now suddenly they don't know anything? I mean, we can have some melding of both. I think that's okay.
I'm going to say this as calmly as I can, because for 3 years and longer we've had this podcast. I wanted to Cashman out. I think it's time for new blood. And if I got to hear Kay again on the radio say this, he'll get a job in 5 minutes. Great. I will fucking drive in there. I don't care. He's just not. It doesn't work here anymore. Dude, to be at a place 30-something years, it's a long time.
And maybe he'll suck there. Herm Edwards got a job in 5 minutes after he left the Jets. It was with Kansas City, and they fired him in 2 years. Dude, guys get jobs again. So what? That doesn't mean your time isn't up here. Bill Walsh used to say, Bill Walsh is, like, I consider him one of my mentors. He had no reason to leave San Francisco. They won a fucking Super Bowl. But he always said, none of these jobs are permanent. It doesn't mean you're done. It just means you're done there.
Right.
Like, your time has run out there. And I think that's just so he gets a job. Where's he get? There's no other club in the league, in Major League Baseball, that's going to hire him where he's going to have the payroll that he has now. No. So he's going to have to even make some adjustments. So you're assuming that he'll have success that he's had here. I don't know that. But regardless, it's time to move on. That's all. It doesn't mean you're an asshole or you suck or you're a piece of shit. It just means your time is up. Thank you for your time. Thank you. You've done a great job. You made a lot of money. We've done a lot of great things. It's time to go. That's all. It's okay. It's okay. It doesn't have to be vitriolic.
Another thing I'm worried about is how, again, George wouldn't put up with this. We know, but Hal's not George, dude. It's not the same thing.
And here's the other thing about the Steinbrenner comparison. At that time, the Yankees had gobs of money more than everybody else.
Yeah.
I don't even know that the Yankees are the highest revenue team in baseball anymore.
They're not.
Dodgers,
they don't want the luxury tax either way, so they're not going to spend stupid money.
They're not even that team that overspends for everybody, overspends for every player and over everybody else anymore. There are other teams that spend more than them. So you just got to get past that. Like this idea, like Joe Torre's time came. Did Joe Torre do less than Brian Cashman? I mean, come on, Joe Torre's legendary. Everybody's time comes, and it's time. That's all. It's not a bad thing.
And I'm not saying even Hal's cheap. It's just he spent the money in the wrong spot.
Really?
But he's getting that information from his fucking front office.
Cashman. So it's just time to go. Again, it doesn't have to be this like painful divorce. It could just be like, hey, you know what? It's just time. Peyton Manning had to retire. Tom Brady had to retire. Pedro Martinez had to retire. Like the time comes. It's just time. It's time to move on. That's all. That's all. It doesn't have to be vicious and nasty. It's just time. Need some fresh eyes and some fresh ideas. That's all.
This will probably be the last we talk Yankees until like maybe the offseason when the playoffs is wrapped up and or like the regular season wrapped up and we could say how the Yankees missed the playoffs so we can go into this a little more, what they need to add and subtract in our minds. But just ugly, bad year. And, oh, by the way, my ticket prices went up. They had the balls to get my prices this year. My ticket girl comes up to me last week and she goes, Scott, the tickets are out. I go, Jess, really? Today you're going to come out with me? Oh, I've heard it all day, blah, blah, blah. I go, well, you should. And I know it's not your fault, but to ask people for money right now, this is
not a 9-game losing streak.
Yeah, not really a good timing there, Jess.
Hey, let me ask you something. I know, like, we can rip on Cashman, but the one thing is they've had a good team, not a great team, but they've had a good team even over the last 10 or 15 years when they haven't won a championship. But they haven't had a sub 500 record in what? Like, it's been a while. Are they gonna end under 500 or are they gonna find a way to sneak above it?
They're gonna end under 500.
You think so?
Yeah.
Wow, Jesus.
This team.
I just think that's the sign. How much more do you need?
If you watch them on a nightly basis, this team is not good.
Yeah.
And now they brought up some young guys to like try to see what they got. And again,
I heard that the other day.
That's
the other thing. Their farm system's not great. They've traded off too many.
That's right. They did. They fucked that up too.
It's double shit.
And
which could be a real problem.
And then the Yankees have they done for 100 years. They had this problem where they don't bring a guy up and they hold on to him too long, so his value is not good trade wise. And then when they bring him up, he's got so much pressure on him because we've been hearing about it for 3.5 years, and then they shit their pants. So it's not, dude. They're lost. And then they come up, they're making base running mistakes. No one knows how to get in front of a ground ball. It's what are we doing in the minors?
I was just saying, makes you wonder what's going on down below. You got me fired up now,
you bastard. Goddamn.
Oh, my God.
I got breaking news here, sir.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Broncos wide receiver Jerry Jeudy expected to miss several weeks with a hamstring injury. So
several weeks is not the whole season. That's not
the
worst news.
Not great, but they open up Raiders, Commanders, and I think Dolphins. So maybe we get 2-1 start there. Be okay.
Oh, 2-1.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Just curious.
I've been negative on this team now. Now I'm trying to throw the light at you, and you're throwing fucking haymakers at me. All right, now it's time to get you back. Scotty Trivia. Oh, no, go ahead.
Wait, one more before Scotty Trivia and before I get my ass handed to me. Real quick, Ohtani hurts his elbow, UCL, whatever, won't be pitching anymore this season.
Second time.
Is it? Is this a product of trying to do too much, being both an everyday player and a pitcher?
I don't want to pat ourselves on the back, but we said this a couple weeks ago with like big Ohtani, big contract. He's not going to be able to do this forever, and they didn't trade him, and they went in the tank. Trout's hurt again.
They're probably stuck with him now because he's damaged goods.
Well, he's not getting $600 million. I'll tell you that right now. You got to be out of your mind to give him that contract now. After
is he basically not just a DH because of this?
Well, he's definitely going to DH. Well, if he has a surgery,
if he plays.
Well, Bryce Harper had this last season. He didn't hit until June or July
of the following year.
Yeah, and he won't pitch. He won't pitch next year, but he can hit. I think, but not right away.
Crazy.
So listen, I was a little late to the bandwagon. I love watching the kid play.
Oh, he's tremendous.
But he couldn't do this for a long period of time. It's like
it's just a
wear
lot
and
to
tear.
ask.
Not a
With
day off.
With how hard they throw now, it's a lot to ask. To basically go out there and throw hard, either from the mound or from the field every day. It's just a lot to ask.
Yep.
And
no, it sucks to see that. Being one of the elections, just like when Judge missed 2 months, you don't want it sucks to see these guys miss.
We're never rooting for injuries.
No.
Just like we talk about too, and we're so doubtful of his ability to make it through the season. We're not rooting for it though. I mean, even as a Jets fan, I don't want to see someone getting traumatic brain injuries. Like it's a human being, dude. I'm not looking for someone to get hurt like that. Like that's serious shit. So yeah.
No.
It is time.
All right, buddy boy.
Oh,
did you get music for this yet or what? Did you get music for this?
I didn't yet. I've been lazy.
Wait, do you want to do this? Or you want to do picks first?
I forgot the picks. I do have one. I have one. I do have one.
I got two. Go ahead. You gotta give me.
Let's do the picks. So
I forgot
my one pick. I'm taking USC. Who the hell are they playing? I just drew a blank.
San Jose State.
Minus 30.5, I think it is.
Yeah.
I know it's a lot. Well, here's what I'm thinking. USC has to romp all season because, number one, they don't have a great defense. They still don't have a great defense. And Lincoln Riley, if you go back to the Oklahoma days, didn't have a great defense and never was able to really put a quality defense on the field. But you got Caleb Williams, the Heisman Trophy winner, probably going to go pro after this year. Next year, you're going to the Big Ten. You got a really, really good chance of being a playoff team where it's still only 4 teams. You got a really good chance of making that playoffs if you run the table or maybe have one close, tough road loss at the end of the season. I think they're going to come out of the box real fast. I could see them putting 60 on the board, and I just can't see San Jose scoring more than 30. So
I'm going to give you a little tease here for next week. I think the Pac-12 is going to be exciting this year. They're going to go out in a blaze of glory. There's a lot of good teams out there too, bro. There's a lot of good teams. So we'll see what they do, but we'll go into that more next week. One more thing for let me give you my picks and then I want to do golf real quick.
Okay, yeah.
My 2 picks, I'm going to go Navy plus 20.5 in Dublin against Notre Dame.
Early this year. That's usually a couple games into the season.
The travel's a mess. Navy's a very disciplined team. They're going to give you the same shit if they play here, a parking lot, Ireland, whatever. New quarterback for Notre Dame.
That's what I was just going to say.
Navy holds the ball. They make you sweat it out. Rust, I think, too. A lot of pressure on Marcus Freeman this year. So I think Notre Dame wins. Navy hangs around maybe 36-20, something like that. They get a late
What's
cover.
The spread?
20.5.
Yeah, I like that one for the same reason you like for the quarterback reason. And I like the quarterback.
I do too.
I think because college football doesn't have preseason games, I'm always really leery of first-time starters on a team. First game of the season, first game,
and playing a military school, you know what they're going to do. Like it's
and they do what they do all the time. Nothing changes for them. So they're right where they want to be, and Notre Dame's still figuring out exactly how good they are. I think they're good. I think the quarterback's really good.
I do too.
Just rocky start. That's all. Rocky start.
I'm going out west. I'm going the Ohio Bobcats +2 at San Diego State.
Digging deep into the bag.
There's only 6 games, bro. What are you going to do?
But it's cool because it's football season.
Exactly. You can't mess with the MAC. Only 2 points on the road out west. Something's telling me something there. Ohio's a good team. Give me 2 of the Bobcats.
All right. I love it.
Golf real quick.
This
is the last weekend of the Tour Championship. Last week, Victor Hovland, dude, absolutely throwing darts on Sunday. Phenomenal.
Lost his mind.
Big fan of him. I like Scotty Scheffler too. Just a lot of guys up there you like. Rory still can't putt. Rahm can't putt early today.
I know.
He just blew 2 more.
What's so interesting about this final round of the Tour Championship, if you start watching and you see scores that look bananas, like it's impossible for somebody to be 13 under on the first day, just remember it's kind of graduated scoring based on your ranking. So Scotty Scheffler started off in the lead at 11 under. So whatever he's at now or when you start looking, just understand he started at 11 under. He didn't start at even. And a bunch of these guys, they didn't start at even.
The numbers are on a scale. Yep.
Yeah. So just so you don't freak out, because that did happen to me last year. And it was on a Thursday because we were doing the podcast. And I'm looking, I'm like, holy shit, it's impossible. He's through 12 holes. He's at 14 under. Like, what the hell is he doing? He's got 2 eagles, birdie on every hole. No.
Deep breath.
I
Real
love
quick, give me your winner. What do you think?
I'm going to go with Scotty Scheffler. How do you not? He's already in the lead. He's the steadiest, most solid player there is. They'd have to catch him. So I'm going to, it sounds boring, but he's one of the best front runners I've seen since Tiger Woods. So he doesn't really cough up leads.
I'm going to go Hovland.
Okay. I mean,
I'm going to ride the hot player there.
Yeah, he's hot. Forget about McIlroy. If you're looking to bet McIlroy, he's got a banged up back. He's barely even making it through the course. So I'd be very.
I like Murakami too. Murakami threw a big number out there today too.
Always does good in these big spots.
Yeah, I like him. I don't know
because this is like a major, and Morikawa always shows up for the majors. So this is basically the same thing. He's just fighting from behind.
All right, bud. Buckle up.
I feel good today. I'm ready to do this. I feel good.
All right.
I think you're going to give. I think you were a little unfair with the questions last year. It was a little misleading, and I think that was in your head. And I think you're going to be a little more fair with the questions. So I feel good. I'm ready to go.
All right. So I didn't crush you this week.
See what I mean? I'm already doing good.
I don't think. Question 1.
Nice. Bullshit.
Who has never played on Thanksgiving?
Oh,
the Titans, the Browns, the Jaguars, the Texans.
The Titans, the Browns, the Jaguars, or the Texans?
Mm-hmm. All right. I guess I didn't give him a curveball. I gave him no layup there.
Well, I mean, your initial instinct when you hear like expansion teams like the Texans and the Jags becomes your first response. But like my actual first instinct is the Browns. But I think they've been around for so long, they probably played on Thanksgiving at one point. So I'm going to say the Jags.
1 for 1.
Yes, sir. Logic.
I thought you were going to talk yourself out of it again. I'm like, here we go. He's going to go Browns. Fucking guy's going to go Browns.
No, just go with your instinct. No.
What is the largest city in America not to have an NFL team?
Ooh.
San Diego, San Antonio, Portland, Orlando.
Wow, that's tough. Wow, I'm a little because I feel like Portland is very populated, and San Diego is a little. I don't think is San Antonio that. I don't think it's Orlando. It could be Orlando. That's why they got an expansion basketball team back in the day. Shit. I'm going to say Orlando.
San Antonio. I
was
shocked as well.
It's that big. Wow, I didn't realize it's that big a city. Texas is fucking Texas. Everything's big in Texas. I should have known that. All right, 1-1. I got to get this one right. Is it 3 questions?
What?
3 questions?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I got to get this one.
What is the highest number of points ever in a game?
For what sport?
By one team. Football.
Football?
I'm not going to give you a fucking hockey out of.
Well, I don't know if you said basketball or something. You get tricky sometimes.
72, 60, 68, or 85?
Wait, what is that in a quarter?
Game. Single team in a game.
I'm still stuck on NBA. What are the choices again?
What the fuck? What is the highest number of points ever to be scored by one team in a game? In an NFL game,
NFL game.
72, 60, 68, or 85?
My guess is that somewhere back in the day there was some kind of Chicago Bears 85-0 fucking game or something like that. So I'm 72 or 85. 85 sounds so fucking high. I know I'm going to end up getting this. I'm going to be pissed. I'll say 72.
Peter Calisano has done it. He's over 500. He has.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Next
sir.
week we go. These questions
are
good, right?
Who was it that scored 72?
I gotcha. The Washington Redskins over. Sorry, Mac, Chris, Fabi's, my Giant fan buddies in 1966.
Wow, was 72-0?
I don't know what the. Yeah, it might have been. It might have been.
Oh my god,
dude. This trivia's the best. Good job today.
Oh,
good job.
Listen, I feel much better. I have nothing to say about the second one because I probably would have put San Antonio last. If you would have asked me to put them in order, I probably would have put San Antonio last. So I have nothing on that one.
Yeah.
I feel good about the other two. Back on the winning streak. Hey, I don't know how many of you are pro wrestling fans. I was actually at the first ever WrestleMania At the time, who knew what it was going to turn into? But it was a big deal for me. My dad, from the time I was a kid, I always had a bedtime at 9 o'clock. But on Saturday nights, it was 1 o'clock in the morning because pro wrestling came on at midnight, and I would watch with my dad. So I have so many great memories of pro wrestling. And wrestling lost a legend today, Terry Funk. There were a lot of Funk brothers, but Terry Funk was a huge one. He had great rivalries with Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat, like epic long 1-hour matches, traveled all over the world, multiple organizations, just, an absolute legend. And he passed away today. So, we wish the best for his family, rest in peace, all that kind of stuff. Great wrestler, great on the mic, one of the best villains of pro wrestling of all time. He was never, very rarely, if ever, was he a good guy. He was fantastic at being a bad guy. He was very easy to hate, and that was his job, and he was very good at it. So it was fun watching him back in the day, and rest in peace. So good. We got a 111. That was 111.
That was 1.
I think it was
11. Yeah, it was 111. Yeah. Yep.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
Very cool. So next week, what do we have? NFC
North. And we're going to do a
North?
big college football show. Well, we won't touch Yankees anymore for a while. And, then, and we'll touch on the golf real quick, wrap that up maybe. And then
absolutely.
So a big college football show next week. And then we're getting ready to go.
Sounds good. For Scott Bracey, I'm Pete Colasano. You've been listening to Bump and Run. We'll see you guys next week.
Later.